All right, let's get right into it. We need to talk about AI. And I don't mean in some abstract science fiction way. I mean right here, right now. Because we are in the middle of this frantic global race to build a technology that is changing everything. And we're doing it without any clear rules, without really understanding the risks, or even where we're trying to go. So let's break down what's actually at stake.
Just take a second and read that. Let it sink in. This isn't a tagline for a movie. It's a real statistic from the people who are literally building this technology. Half of them. Half of the experts in the field think there's a 1 in 10 chance, or greater, that this whole thing could lead to our extinction. I mean, think about it. That's like getting on a plane and having half the engineers who build it tell you, yeah, there's about a 10% chance this thing's going to go down. You would never, ever get on that plane.
So you have to ask, right? How on earth did we get to this point? And with all the noise out there, killer robots, superintelligence, what are the real dangers? The ones that are happening today and the ones that are staring us in the face that really need our attention right now. That's what we're going to unpack.
Okay, so to get a handle on this, the first thing you have to realize is that the AI we're talking about today is a completely different animal from anything we've had before. Some experts are calling this the second contact, humanity's first real encounter with a new and pretty unpredictable form of intelligence.
They call these new systems Golem-class AIs, and that name, it comes from old Jewish folklore about a creature made from clay that comes to life. It's a perfect metaphor because, just like the golem, these models have what are called emergent capabilities. These are skills and abilities that just pop up, things the creators never programmed into them, and frankly, things they don't fully get. It's like you build a calculator and one day it just starts writing poetry. No one knows exactly how.
And here is a fascinating and honestly a kind of unsettling example of that. This is looking at what's called theory of mind, which is basically the ability to guess what someone else is thinking. It's key for strategy. Look at this jump. In less than a year, these models went from the strategic thinking of a 7-year-old to that of a 9-year-old. But here's the kicker, the really worrying part. The researchers only discovered this had happened months after the models were already out in the wild, available to all of us.
You know, if we want to get a clue about where this second contact might be going, we need to look back at our first contact with a powerful AI, and that was social media. It was a much simpler kind of AI, right? Its whole job was just to curate our feeds. But its impact, well, that was anything but simple. And it shows a pattern that we really should be treating as a warning.
So let's break down the difference here. The first contact, that was curation AI. The goal was simple, maximize engagement, keep our eyes glued to the screen. The race was for our attention. And what was the result? Well, we've lived it. Polarization, addiction, a whole lot of societal destabilization. Now we're in the second contact with creation AI, and the race has completely changed. It's not just about our attention anymore. It's a race for raw power, for capability, for market dominance. And the result of that race? Well, that's a giant, terrifying question mark. And this brings us to this huge divide in how people are thinking about AI risk. You can almost picture it like a silent war being fought on two different fronts. On one side, you have the far future existential threats. And on the other, you have the very real, tangible harms that are happening right now.
So on that first front, you've got thinkers like the historian Yuval Noah Harari. His argument is that AI's ability to master language isn't just another feature. It's a foundational threat. I mean, think about it. Everything that holds our society together, our laws, our religions, money, it's all built on language, on stories we tell each other. An AI that can manipulate that world of symbols at a massive scale, that's like a nuke for our entire social operating system. But then you have the other front. Researchers like Sasha Lucioni argue that obsessing over these future, hypothetical, doomsday scenarios is actually a really dangerous distraction. She basically says that while we're all staring off at the horizon, worried about Skynet, we're completely ignoring the fires that AI is already starting right at our feet. And here's just one of those fires, the environmental cost. Look at this. Just training the GPT-3 model pumped out over 550 tons of carbon dioxide. And, as Lucioni points out, tech companies aren't even required to measure or tell us this stuff. So what you're seeing here, this is probably just the tip of a very rapidly melting iceberg. And the list of damage that's happening right now just goes on and on. You've got artists suing these massive companies for training models on their entire life's work without permission. You have biased facial recognition leading to wrongful arrests, like Portia Woodruff, who was accused of carjacking while she was 8 months pregnant. These are not hypothetical problems. This is happening to real people today.
So beyond all the societal stuff, there's a more personal danger we need to think about. It's this strange paradox where the very tools that are designed to make us smarter might actually be making our own minds weaker. We actually saw a version of this happen years ago with GPS. Scientists studied London taxi drivers who have to memorize thousands of streets. It's this incredible feat they call the knowledge. And they found that these drivers have a physically larger hippocampus. That's the memory center of the brain. But in other studies, they looked at people who just relied on GPS all the time, and that same part of their brain had actually started to shrink. When we outsource a mental skill, the part of our brain that does that skill can literally start to atrophy. Use it or lose it. So this is the really critical thing to understand about these tools. As this quote puts it, AI is amazing at continuing a thought. You give it an idea, and it can refine it, perfect it, take it to its logical conclusion. It's like a master diamond polisher, but it's much, much weaker at generating a new thought. It's not good at coming up with a diamond in the first place. That initial human spark, asking the right question, having that seed of a new idea, that's still on us. And if we rely on AI for everything, we might just lose our ability to find those diamonds.
So you take all of this, the unpredictable capabilities, the harms that are happening right now, the effects on our own brains, and you realize it's all happening inside this global race that has no brakes. Even Microsoft's CEO called the pace frantic. We are moving at an absolutely breakneck speed, and it's forcing a massive choice on all of us as a civilization.
If you want to really feel the speed we're talking about, just look at this number, 100 million users. It took ChatGPT just 2 months to get there. 2. For comparison, the telephone took 75 years to do that. The cell phone took 16 years. The internet took 7 years. This technology is getting tangled up in the fabric of our society before we've even had a chance to breathe, let alone understand what it all means. And this metaphor from Tristan Harris just perfectly nails the core of the problem. We've created this godlike technology, but we're trying to run it with our same old Stone Age brains and medieval institutions. We've built a booster rocket, but we've strapped it to a Model T, this old, fragile system that has none of the steering, none of the brakes, none of the navigation you would need to handle that kind of raw power. So ultimately, this isn't just a tech challenge. It's a rite of passage for humanity. It's forcing us to look in the mirror and ask a really fundamental question. As we get more and more powerful, are we also getting any wiser? Because if we fail to upgrade our collective wisdom as fast as we're upgrading our tech, well, then this race has only one possible and catastrophic finish line.